Good afternoon, Niner faithful. Welcome to a very exciting episode here. Very thrilled to bring on this guest that has been joining me these past few weeks, and we had to keep this streak going so that the Niners keep their streak going. Jason Aponte of the Sprint Right Option podcast. How are you doing today, Jason?
I'm doing amazing, Rob. We were just talking. I'll be in LA for the championship game. It sounds like it's going to be flooded when you look at the numbers between StubHub and TickPick. It looks like double the ticket sales that they were doing for Week 18. So there's going to be a lot of us out there. It's an amazing time right now.
Yes, it is an amazing time. I will be there as well. Very excited to turn SoFi Stadium red. And let's just take a moment of appreciation for what occurred in Lambeau on Saturday. I know it's not one of our topics that we're going to hit, but, you know, I personally was there, experienced it firsthand, and have just recovered, finally feeling warm again now that I've been back in Portland for a few days. But just how special this run has been, just how much fans should appreciate this moment in achieving what the Niners have and in the quest for taking it a couple steps further to the glory land. I just personally, as a fan, have to take a moment to express my gratitude about it.
Yeah, and especially when you look at the circumstances in that Green Bay game. 4 minutes left. Even the most diehard 49er fan probably said, okay, you know, something drastic has to happen here. But to have it happen off a special teams punt block, and once, I mean, you can tell me the energy in the building. I felt like, okay, this game just completely, like, it almost ended the game right there, because it felt like that Packers crowd was just like, wow, like, that's really like how this is about to happen. And again, something is happening. Deebo calls his shot. The Rams game, the last few seconds, block punt, block field goal, no offensive touchdowns. What? So this team is just finding however they can to win these games. And that is the mark of a team that is on this magic carpet ride. And you need that. And rarely do people just roll to Super Bowl titles. Rarely. They need things to break their way.
Right.
And right now, everything is breaking the 49ers' way. And that's because they've been playing playoff football for, 8 weeks now?
Yeah.
I mean, they had to win basically every single game. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, the energy in the stadium absolutely transformed on that play. So I had a Packer family to my left who the father was in his 80s. You know, his daughter was there. Her daughter went to school with Deebo. So she was a Deebo Samuel fan because her daughter was in the band. And so she would watch Deebo in college and was just enthralled by him. And so it was fascinating to have these amazing Packer fans who were so welcoming, so decent to all 49ers fans, expressing their, gratitude for having people come into Green Bay and wishing everybody a good game. It really was the marquee of good sportsmanship. It was something to behold. And then on the right side of me, while that side, they may not have owned their tickets since Lambeau opened, like the people to my left, it was another family that had them for decades. And the gentleman immediately to my right said, hey, you guys have done what you needed to do. All you can ask for of your team is go into the fourth quarter with a chance to tie or take the lead. That's the most you can ask for from any team in the playoffs in the fourth quarter. And he commended us for getting there. But when that block happened, the air left the building. I mean, it just you could collectively feel the Packers fans just knowing that was the play that changed the game. It was wild. It was palpable. You could taste it.
That's what came through on the TV. It was quiet like a church mouse in there. And it just was, everybody kind of felt like, oh my goodness. They saw the way that the 49ers were playing defense. They saw how that Packers offense was reacting. And that sort of play swings momentum the other way. And the 49ers did exactly what they needed to do just enough to win that game. And that's, again, something's happening. Something's happening, man. I don't know what. You can't quantify it. There's no stat. There's no measurable. It's not tangible.
Just some magic. Just some magic. Well, let's talk a little bit about it, because part of it is the Niners' ability to finish. And this came up this week. Tim Kawakami did a great story for The Athletic, and he asked a couple of primer questions in some of the pressers this week. And in answer post-game, Jimmy Ward had a great statement. I think this is what evoked the thought for Tim Kawakami, was Jimmy's statement that says, we're still getting haunted by the Super Bowl 2019. The last, 6 minutes, lost the game. So Coach Kyle put a big emphasis on finishing. Comes from OTAs, comes from camp, comes from practice, comes from Coach Kyle and the way that we practice, the style and how hard we practice, just never quitting, all about the finish. So you have, 4 epic finishes in recent memory. The Bengals overtime win, the Week 18 comeback, the nail-biter against Dallas, and the miracle in Lambeau this past week. This team has been able to finish, and they have been able to get over that hump, and that has to bode well for these last 2 possible games here in this season.
Yeah, and I think it's just point of emphasis, a team that knows what they need to improve on, that is built to win the game, and if you're there, just finish the job. And I think that that's always gonna be on the mind of these players, Kyle Shanahan, this fan base, until that next Lombardi gets raised. So this is something that, while people will say, oh, well, you're remembering something that happened down the line. No, I think that it's very good that it's in your mind right now, because you understand how things can go. You've already hit rock bottom, right, with that Super Bowl loss.
Right.
And now the point of emphasis is on not letting that happen again. And you're very aware of it, not afraid of it. You embraced it, right? Like, you went right to it and you said, this is how we're going to fix it. You're not, oh, gosh, I hope nothing happens at the end. This team is fighting for every single minute in these games, and it's not something that's just talk at this point.
Yeah, I have often said this season that it's sort of my sense that in those games in the past, Coach Shanahan had tightened up in those moments. You see it in, strange game clock management decisions. You see it in strange play calling. You see it reflected in body language on the sidelines. And I've equated that to anyone who's been in any type of a high-stakes situation, whether it's a high-pressure situation at school where you've got to take a really important exam, whether it's a high-pressure situation at work, maybe it's public speaking, maybe it's a poker game. That's the one I've used most often. Going all in when you've pushed all your chips into the table. You can only describe it if you felt it, but that pounding in your chest, the ringing in your ears, where the moment just becomes extremely overbearing. And I thought I had seen that in Kyle Shanahan. And to me, that's something that as you gain experience in those moments, it lessens a bit. Each time it becomes a little bit quieter. And I sense that from Coach Shanahan, that while these moments are in fact failure can be a very good thing. It can be something that you learn from. It can be something that you pull forward to the next experience and use as that motivation to get over the crest.
Right. And here's the funny thing is that everybody's journey is different as a coach. For Shanahan,
Yes.
This is going to be his 5th year. He's on the doorstep of going to his 2nd Super Bowl in 5 years, which will put him in rarefied air. But I want to point at Andy Reid. How long was Andy Reid known for being not able to manage a clock and never going to win the big game? And this was a narrative for 15, 20 years.
Yes,
with teams
indeed.
that it was. So, and he's a great coach. But what I mean is, it seems like Kyle's a little bit further along, at least in this run right now, than Andy Reid was, because Andy Reid would always be the guy that would get close, not finish it for whatever reason, and he was so successful in Philadelphia, and they let him go. And then, you go over to Kansas City, the same sort of thing happens. And then obviously we know what's going on with them now that they have Patrick Mahomes. But I just find it funny that everybody's journey in this league as a coach is different.
Yes.
And everybody's on different time.
Yes.
Some people are earlier. Some people and Andy Reid's one of the best coaches of all time.
That's right.
And it just took him that long. And if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, they're still saying those same things about him. So at least Kyle's moving in the right direction faster than that.
I'm telling you. And when asked specifically about it this week, this is what Kyle Shanahan had to say about preparing for these moments. There's not like a practice situation or anything like that. I think players and coaches, usually you should get better through experiences that you have in situations. And that was a pretty big one for us there in the Super Bowl. I've had not just in those games, but you have those a ton the more you coach. But those ones, when you get that close to something, those are the ones that really stick out in your mind forever. So I know that was a big deal for all our players, a big deal for me. But every time we're in a game, we talk about it, and not just the Super Bowl, about how quickly all these things can change and how quick a game can get out of hand. You go back to our first game this year and Detroit being up 41-17 with a minute 58 left, and we win by 8 points, and they have the ball at the end. And so the more experience you get on that, you start to realize you should never be comfortable. You should never be comfortable until that game ends. And I think it helps you stay more humble, more grounded, and never get too cocky until you get the job done. And that job is never done until you're shaking hands and the game's over. To me, that was so succinct the way he described it, and echoes my own thoughts of him having been humbled through this experience and learning from it. It gives me optimism that in these high pressure moments, Coach Shanahan is getting better.
Right. And failure does different things to different people. Failure can cause someone to crumble and say, I never want to do this again. Or failure can make somebody stronger. It's all about the person. It's all about the person. So Kyle Shanahan has been on the doorstep 2 times of winning. And right, like even when he was an offensive coordinator, I think that a lot of people would say that, or a lot of people believe that he had a large, part in them not finishing at the Falcons, and then the same thing with this 49ers one in 2019. So failure can do whatever whatever you allow it to do to you.
Right. And
if you're not going to learn from it and get better, then maybe you're not built for it. And it's not an easy job, the NFL head coach, right? Like, no. and being in the Super Bowl. So it's encouraging to hear, and those were concerns. Everybody knows play calling, everything, play designing. They know that, right? There's more to being a head coach than that. And I think that these are all the proper steps. And the way that this team is finishing games out, it's reflecting that renewed, I guess, emphasis on finishing games, right? Because I think you just kind of can fall into a pattern where you think things are just going to work themselves out. But you have to, in this league, make it happen, finish it. Like, you have to finish it. Like, you can't leave it in the hands of the ref or the other team or anything like that. Like, you have to step up and take it. So I think that it's all moving in the right direction at the right time.
You do have to step up and take it. And I do think there are closers on this team that physically put that upon themselves to close out some of these games. And that's important, to get those folks involved, because the physical domination is going to be a part of this game on Sunday. Just to celebrate, we got our newest sneakerhead on the channel. Holly World 73 is now one of the sneakerhead community. All right, let's transition into that next topic. Bringing up the team. I mean, again, going back to the win against Green Bay, it's just wild to me the number of role players that are stepping up. We want to have these conversations about the quarterback in San Francisco, right? It's what everybody's talking about. Well, Jimmy's terrible. Jimmy's great. Well, the truth is actually somewhere in the middle. Whatever your stance is about Jimmy Garoppolo, that seems to dominate the conversation. But this week, we were shown very clearly that this is a team sport. And this was a team win for the San Francisco 49ers. Special teams, the maligned unit, the third phase of the game that everyone's been trashing all year, coming through in the clutch. Jordan Willis, Talanoa Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw, across the board. Even Josh Norman with a key pass breakup, right? Just wild to watch everybody contribute in this one.
And Dante Johnson. I think that's the one that is lost on everybody at this point. Dante Johnson early in that game was having his problems with Devontae Adams. Breaking news, news flash for anybody who didn't know, every single cornerback struggles with Devontae Adams. He's the best in the world.
Yes.
But scheme, the way that he played, he stayed confident, stayed solid, and look what happened. Look what happened, right? That's the thing with this team. Finding new ways to win. Everybody's bought in. Everybody believes. They all believe, right?
Yes.
Jordan Willis wasn't even supposed to play in this game. And He has one of the biggest plays in 49ers playoff history right now, no matter where this goes from here, with that punt block, right?
No doubt.
Jordan Willis opens up the lane for Jimmy Ward to block the field goal. But wait, Jaquiski Tartt runs down Aaron Jones to stop a touchdown that ends up in that.
Yes.
All of these things have a cascading effect, and they're all playing for each other, and they realize that The team is over everything. And that's why you hear guys, when people bring up Jimmy Garoppolo, that's our guy. That's how they are. They're
Right.
close-knit like that. Like, this isn't
Yes.
an act. It's not an act. Nobody's lying to you. That's how they feel on the inside. And you can see it. That's why they're playing for each other. That's why they have confidence in the next guy up. Dante Johnson's a punchline on 49ers Twitter. I haven't seen anything now that would lead me to believe that he's not good or is not solid, because he plays nickel, he plays outside, he plays safety. Like, whenever his number is called, he's fine. He is fine. And he's like the 5th or 6th cornerback on this team. It's just, this entire team has just been, it's just so fun to watch, man. Like, you just feel it. Like, you feel it in the air. That's what I'm saying. Something's happening, but it's a lot of what's going on with how close-knit this group is.
Yes, there's something coming in the air tonight. That is for sure. And what I love is hearing the players talk about each other. They're not talking about themselves. They're celebrating one another. The Dante Johnson one is perfect. Robbie Gould talked him up, and you know, I mean, the guy lost his mother not long ago. He had a lot of personal shit that he had to go through, and yet he rises to the occasion. He's the key utility player that steps up as the Swiss Army knife. Nickel, safety, special teams, you name it. Pulling this from Jordan Elliott, one of my favorite follows on Twitter. I know you're a Jordan Elliott fan and friend. Week 18, Dante Johnson played nickel corner, then filled in at safety in a must-win game in LA. 2 weeks later, he was tasked with covering the best wide receiver in football in 0-degree weather in Green Bay. Johnson has been one of the most versatile and dependable players on this team. I could not agree more with Jordan in that statement. Phenomenal article that he wrote, by the way. If anyone has not read it, go back, find that. It is amazing. The fact that no one on this team has wavered, the fact that they have been prepared for every moment, to me, again, it just speaks to a locker room that is so close-knit, that is fighting for one another. And that's what you need in these high-pressure situations.
And it's not just the team. That video of Chris Kosurik yelling at them 11 minutes to take their soul. Somebody's got to make a play. And
Give me more of that.
And it's not an act. It's not an act. Like, when we're at camp, there's one voice that you can hear no matter what field you're on, whatever side. You can hear screaming at the top of his lungs. It's Chris Kosurik.
Yes.
And that's not an act, man. That is not an act. And for him to say somebody's got to make a play, and he's coaching up his defensive line. His defensive line is exactly what it was. Jordan Willis did that, right?
Yes.
And thank goodness that the Packers special teams unit is worse than the 49ers.
Right.
I mean, right, like 2 gaffes, the field goal block and the field goal punt, and the punt block, and then only 10 on the field for the final field goal of the game. 10 on the field. Like, it was, man, just so apparently they, we had went into this game saying, oh, well, their special teams is worse. Oh, it's much worse. It's not just a little bit. It's not just a little worse. It's much worse. But
yeah, you got to take advantage of those opportunities when they arise.
But again, just it's this group. The team, the coaches, everything. They haven't lied one bit when they talk about how they pull for each other and they love each other, man. And it's just, you can feel it. They don't even have to say anything. If they went to their press conference and said, yeah, we handled business, we took our job, I would feel the same exact way. But then when you hear the public praise that they give for one another, the field goal kickers talking about Dante Johnson, like, that's how close you guys are. Like, really? Like, and that's just one symbol of how close-knit this group is.
Yeah, it's genuine love for each guy, what they do, what they've been through, the experiences, everything that they have gone through together has made this unit closer. And Mario agrees. Niners look like a team of destiny. Bring it on. Greetings from Austria. All right. I think that is my first comment from Austria. Welcome, Mario. Faithful to the Bay, and I'm loving it. I agree. It feels special. I mean, obviously, we will need to look back at the end of this season to determine just how special it is. But I mentioned it earlier in the show, and I will reiterate it here, that to me, regardless of anything that transpires from here, this has been a very special season, and I'm extremely grateful to be able to witness it and to be able to speak about it on a regular basis, interacting with fellow 49er faithful.
Yeah, and just because you don't win the Super Bowl doesn't make the season not special. 2019 was special. 2012
Yes.
was special. 2013 was special. 2011 was special. Those are special years, right? They're just not the way that you want them to finish. So, like, people who will say, "Well, whatever, they just beat the Packers." No, like you're forgetting the circumstances. You're forgetting where this team came from, and now they are on the doorstep of playing back-to-back games at SoFi. And I couldn't have foreseen this. Nobody could have. Nobody
No.
could have. So,
No.
I mean, that's why you enjoy the ride. That's why you always want to get into the dance. And that's why the story still isn't over yet. But I can see the DVD lining up, man. The clips, like clip after clip after clip. It's lining up, man. It's starting to move in that direction. I have
Yes, it
been
is.
in the area for a special team over here, that has done something like this twice. And it was the New York stupid Giants. They did it one time at the 49ers expense.
Yes, they did.
But this is starting to feel like that. Heating up, pass rush, quarterback just does enough right there at the right spot. Went into Lambeau and beat them in a freezing cold game. Everybody writing them off every time they go into the game. No, they can't do it again. They're underdogs. They can't do it again. No, they can't do it again. They're not gonna. All right, so they beat Rodgers. They beat Romo. They're not gonna beat Brady.
No.
Like
no way.
This is starting to feel like that because of the way that they're similarly built up front, and just the magical moment after one after another, and they always find a way to have more points when the clock goes to 0, which is the name of the game.
Yes, it is. Kurt the Chameleon at Rob and Jason. If one phase fails, the other phase picks it up. Totally agree. They are playing complete team ball. Chris Royal, NFC Championship, baby. Rob and Jason, make sure to get loud for our boys while you're out there. My prediction, 49ers 27, Rams 17. I would absolutely love that.
Yeah, I can't take any more of these games,
that.
man, like this. I would love them to be up by like 10 at the end of the game with it over. Like, I can't take this anymore. My watch, like, literally tells me a bunch of times during the game, your heart rate is flying up and you're not doing anything.
Right. Ashley comes in with an interesting one here at Rob and Jason. Hi, what do you think about the MENA critics? I've seen a lot of women equals they don't know anything about football equals dumb type takes from fans, and it's been disheartening to read. I just wanted to bring this up because I thought that was a trash take. I just Jeff Garcia, I mean, quite honestly, I am a fan, but shame on him for the language used there. Shame on him for not realizing what he was saying. I think that it's atrocious to believe that we're still at a place where we need to criticize people, specifically women, for covering a male-dominated sport. I mean, I cover this sport and have not played it since Pop Warner football, at which stage I got my ass handed to me on a regular basis. And, it doesn't stop me from saying what I want to about this sport. And it shouldn't stop Mina. It shouldn't stop any of the ladies out there. I just want to encourage any females that want to get into speaking about sports. Don't let the haters get in your way. They're always going to be there, but there are plenty of people out there that feel a different way. And I just wanted to take a moment to share that.
No, you're good. I'm going to be a little bit more harsh. Jeff Garcia is a cornball. And here's why, man. Like, the Cam Newton, take your suit off and get in the playbook. Shut up about that. And then this, definitely shut up. And the problem that I have with this, more than anything, is this. If Dante Whitner, Joe Staley, or Takeo Spikes said the same exact thing that Mina Kimes said, he would never be that aggressive.
Nope.
Never be that aggressive. He would never say, oh, what do you know about playing quarterback or anything like that? You know what else? You saying that you have to play quarterback to be able to know what goes through a quarterback's mind, you are excluding 99.99999% of the human population from discussing football, male or female. You understand how stupid that sounds? I know people who have not played a down of football in their life, smartest people I've ever met discuss the game. I know people who have played football for 15 years in the NFL, don't know a damn thing and say the most obscene, wild, wrong takes ever. This whole idea about you need to play football or no, because you know what? Then that means we shouldn't be on Twitter. We should not have a YouTube channel. We shouldn't ever discuss sports. Right. No, right? Like none of us.
And Kyle Shanahan shouldn't be coaching because he's never played quarterback.
I just find it funny that he had to go there instead of saying, I disagree with it because of this, and this. And I disagree with Mina's take. And I love Mina Kimes. I disagree with that take. You can disagree with the take without being obscenely outrageous with that. And that right there was a microcosm of something that's bigger going on with Jeff Garcia, because You would have never went at Marcellus Wiley like that, Ryan Clark, Stephen A. Smith, any of those, like any guy like that. You wouldn't say Stephen A. Smith doesn't play football, like he doesn't know. No. So obviously women don't play in the NFL. They're not quarterbacks. That's not going to happen. So why did you have to go there? And if you're talking about having to be a quarterback to know, then everybody should stop talking football. All of us. None of us should ever have an opinion. And that's going to be my go-to to the men that are on Twitter right now defending him.
Yep.
You say something, I'll be like, have you played NFL quarterback? No? Then be quiet. I don't want to hear it. Then shut up. I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't care anymore. And I'm a little bit riled up because I'm a father. And I think that a lot of this, like, energy that he has would never be directed at a man. And that really makes me upset because there's plenty of men who have said the same exact thing.
Yes.
And this man's never said anything.
Yes.
The same exact thing.
I think you bring up the key point, which is it's fine to disagree with Mina. Like, it's fine to think that's a bad take. I agree. I think that was a bad take. But you have to come at it by attacking the argument, attacking the logic that she's using. You don't attack the person. That is a logical fallacy, right? If you study logical fallacies, that's one of the top 5, is instead of attacking what she's saying, you attack her, which has nothing to do with the argument. And again, I just think it was a trash move, and I'm sorry that it happened, but it is where, unfortunately, some of our society remains. G.I. Jones coming in. Rams win this one. They're not going to be embarrassed 3 times in 1 year to get shut out. They will adjust. No faith till we have 6. G.I. Jones, I'll say that, you have every right to be skeptical going into this one. I believe it's going to be a very tough game. I think you're right that the Rams will do everything they can to avoid being embarrassed a 3rd time, to avoid being shut out. They certainly will adjust. My faith remains with Kyle Shanahan and his ability to adjust in ways that are more efficient than Sean McVay. His ability to use the physical nature of this Niners team to wear down the Rams. I do think it's going to be close, but I definitely have the Niners coming out victorious in this one.
See, this is the part that I'm kind of going to disagree with. You had 6 times to adjust. You haven't changed a thing on offense. I mean, you haven't changed a thing on defense. All you did was upgrade the parts.
Right.
So what's going to be different this time? What are you going to change at this point? The Rams are not built like that. The 49ers will out-physical them. And the 49ers are not going to get down 17-0 going into this game. Like, that's probably not going to happen. There's a really good chance that this team will not be down 17-0 in the blink of an eye either.
Yes.
So the closer the game is, the louder that crowd gets. I don't see why. Like, when people say, oh, you can't beat a team 3 times in a row. Why? Who said?
Yeah.
It's not. It's law of averages. And I understand that part, but why? Why can't you? Why?
And historically speaking, it's happened more frequently than it's not happened, right? Out of 21 times it's occurred, it's happened 14 times that the team that already won twice wins that 3rd time. And
that's 50%.
Yeah. So it is, I mean, the Niners have a great shot at this one, but I get the skepticism, I suppose.
Law of averages, I get it, but like.
Yeah. That Niner guy coming in. If you attack someone, not the argument, then that argument is weak AF. Here's some cash. Red Sea in LA. By the way, I played quarterback in 8th grade, so I am an expert. That Niner guy coming in the clutch. That 8th grade quarterbacking definitely qualifies you. Not a question.
I love those guys too. That I know he's joking, but I love those guys too that'll tell me that. Well, I played in high school, bro. Are you kidding me, man? What? Like, dude, I went to camp in high school too. It was, like, they gave you stuff to run and stuff like that, but it wasn't like exactly what the hell's going on in the NFL. Like, you have
not quite
an idea, you have a semblance, but
not quite. All right, let's transition into handling the crap. And Jimmy Garoppolo, I talked about it earlier, so obviously we have to get to a quarterback situation conversation. Jimmy dealing with the hate. This came up in the pressers this week. A couple of quotes from it. Knowing yourself and knowing who you are is a big part of that in talking about Jimmy dealing with that hate. Just not believing the BS, right? Knowing yourself, knowing that who you are as a person. As long as the guys in the locker room have faith in me and believe in me, that's all I really care about. That's Jimmy specifically talking about his feelings on the hate. My guess is that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't spend much time on social media, that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't hear the direct shots that are coming at him, but certainly teammates around him are, and they're coming to his defense, right? And I do think that speaks to the type of locker room this is, but I also think it speaks to the type of leader that Jimmy Garoppolo is, the way that he can absorb this and continue to just progress and play as if nothing has been said, as if he's not doubted consistently. And I respect him for that. I will criticize him for a lot of the boneheaded mistakes that he makes. I think he deserves that criticism. I also praise him for the great throws that he will make. I think the truth is in the middle on Jimmy Garoppolo, but one thing that is not in the middle is his character. His character, to me, is unquestionable. The way he's handled all of the BS this season, all of the fan hate that he continues to get, he's just been a model citizen throughout in my book.
And it's almost like the organization did exactly what they told you they were going to do this entire time, and he was a part of that, and he understood exactly what was happening.
Isn't that wild?
I mean, we spent an entire offseason trying to decipher body language, quotes about who the pick was going to be at 3, and then everything else. The one thing that they were consistent on this entire time was Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start as long as this team is not eliminated, and everyone in here's got his back. It's almost like they had a conversation behind closed doors about, hey, look, this is a business. We're going to draft Trey Lance. You know, we're moving on,
right?
But you're still our guy. And it never got complicated for him because the message was never skewed from the inside. It was people on the outside, us, who said, oh, well, I don't know if they believe in, speculating. Like, that's not, none of that stuff. Everything that they said all offseason, everything they said was true about Jimmy Garoppolo. Everything.
Yes.
And they never wavered on it. So, and I do think that Jimmy is not on social media, but people send that to him. And look, I like it. And you know why? As soon as you tell me I can't do something, man, all I want to do is prove you wrong, man. As soon as you tell me, like, if I woke up tomorrow and I went on Twitter and I said, bro, I want to run a 4K marathon and I haven't run in nah, you can't. Bet. I'm gonna put that in my bookmarks and I'm gonna put it up on my wall when I go run and everything, and I'm gonna say, I remember this guy. And then when I do it, I'm gonna quote tweet you and say, you good? Like, I'm here to disprove whatever it is that you say I can't do. So I love it. I love it, man. Good for Jimmy Garoppolo, bro. Don't listen. Who cares?
Yeah, it does fuel people. There was another great article in The Athletic about Eric Armstead and talking about some of the hate that he got early on. His father, Gus Armstead, said something that is just universally true in my book. He said, we live in a negative world where everybody is always taking shots. It's unfortunate, but it's very true. And he goes on to say, for us, that's always going to happen to you. Consider the critic, first of all, because a lot of people have a lot of stuff to say, but they may not necessarily know what they're talking about. You take the good with the bad. You get a lot of praise, you stay at one level. You get a lot of negativity, and you've got to still stay at that level. And when you're compensated well, people start taking shots at you for that. That's all part of it. To me, it is, a part of who Jimmy Garoppolo is. He's going to take these shots. Again, a lot of the criticism is warranted. The personal shots are not. But I go back to that quote by Gus Armstead that's sort of the world we live in, that these negative shots in this negative world are going to come, especially in these negative spaces like Twitter. But I go back to what Coach Shanahan said, showing what the guys on the team think about Jimmy by coming out and defending him, by Deebo coming out and publicly defending his quarterback. Shanahan saying himself, we don't give him enough credit. Jimmy's a very good quarterback. And that's where it is for me. He's a very good quarterback. We don't need to say he's elite. He's not elite, but he's very good, and he's a great leader, and that matters.
Yeah, and they're playing for him. They're playing for him, and they always have that belief that no matter how his game goes, when they need that one drive, they'll get it. And I'm going to point to this Green Bay game. Everybody wants to talk about almost interceptions. Why are you not talking about almost receptions then?
Mm-hmm.
Love George Kittle. Don't know if it's a house call, but that's a 60-yard catch. And his numbers look drastically different. Drastically. Brandon Ayuk, drop. Jawan Jennings, drop. Okay, interceptions, they're there. Decisions, they're there. But at the same time, when you say almost interception, why are you not saying almost completion?
Right.
Almost reception when it wasn't his fault. Wasn't his fault. I also want to point something else out. Jimmy Garoppolo passed for 80 yards in the second half. Aaron Rodgers passed for 55. I think we know who's better, But isn't it funny how one guy, when he needed to drive, got it. The other guy missed a wide open dig route over the middle of the field. And if Jimmy Garoppolo would have missed that and thrown that pass that Rodgers did, but you know what's funny? Jimmy's carried by the run game, by the defense, by his coach. But now everybody's lining up to make excuses for Aaron Rodgers. His special teams let him down. His coach didn't have enough people on the field. The defense didn't hold him for the last time. Tom Brady just lost because his defense let him down at the end. Oh, so everybody else needs help except Jimmy Garoppolo. When Jimmy Garoppolo's team plays better and is playing better than those teams, because Tom Brady's the GOAT, he skates it because Aaron Rodgers is the best natural thrower of the football. He skates it even though he's lost at home in the NFC Championship game back-to-back seasons. The year before, it was about his coach not going for it on fourth down and Kevin King letting up a touchdown at the half. It's never him. It's never him. It's never Rodgers, right? It's funny how certain guys need help, like Josh Allen. Josh Allen had an amazing game,
yes.
Right? What is everybody saying? Defense couldn't help him. Why does everybody need help in this league? But Jimmy Garoppolo is the one that you guys are penalizing every single time for it. It's insane to me. There's plenty of quarterbacks in this league that people say, well, if they had a coach, well, if they had a running back, well, that's how football works. And unfortunately for the people that are on this side of the Jimmy Garoppolo thing who want to knock him down, you're not objectively looking at it across the board, right?
No.
Rodgers throws for 55 yards, and you say, man, well, 49ers defense clamped him and special teams let him down. Okay, but he missed throws. And after that, outside of that one touchdown on the first drive and that one long coverage bus pass to Aaron Jones, he was non-existent in this game.
Right.
Tom Brady just lost. He was down 27-3. He almost came back. He tied it. The defense let him down at the end, though. Oh, okay. I see how it works, though. Like, it's just funny to me how you can't objectively say things in two ways, right? Like, Rodgers needs help. Brady needs help. Mahomes needs help. Jimmy's getting help too much.
Yeah,
Jimmy's getting help too much.
So you're telling me it's a team sport. Interesting. I totally agree. It's wild the way in which our fan base seems to be fixated on it. Keith Murray coming in. The matchup reminds me of 99 Jags-Titans. Jags were the pretty team, and the Titans were physical. They swept the series, winning the third in Jacksonville. I would love it if that were the case in this one as well. The 49ers, I think they set up very nicely to be the physical team that steals this one. I have no doubt about it. Neil coming in here. Here's $5 for two of my three favorite Niner channels. Appreciate the positivity and content, Rob and Jason. Neil, absolutely. Cheers to you. Appreciate that. No doubt about it.
Shout out to you, Neil. Appreciate that, man. I appreciate those kind of words.
Yes, gotta love the support. This Niners community is phenomenal. All right, Luke Luna coming in. Jimmy Playoffalo and The Last Dance. It's a vibe. Yes, it is, Luke. I love that comment. It is a vibe, and we are going to The Last Dance. All you need is a chip and a chair, and the Niners got that. Let's talk a little bit briefly about resiliency. You build up resiliency by going through hard things, and we've gone through one of the hardest seasons you can imagine. Who dropped that little piece? Fred Warner did. The fact that we're one of four teams remaining speaks to that. We're going to need everybody's best on Sunday. It's a wild ride that we have been on to this point, but the bond that this team got by spending half a scene in Arizona seems to have carried over into this season. The entire frickin' season has been very unique. The fact that we started 3-5, that we had just given up, everything we did to draft a quarterback at 3 overall, we're still paying $25 million to the starting quarterback. The eruption that occurred amongst the fan base, but everyone on the team from the top down remaining singularly focused, that resiliency has the chance to propel this team to the highest peak.
Close-knit group, and iron sharpens iron. Those guys get to face each other all the time. And yeah, the 49ers have been playing football in the playoffs for weeks now.
Yes.
They didn't just start in Dallas. That was their fourth playoff game of the season at that point. and they are a resilient bunch, and they all believe in each other. That's why it's hard to beat a team that is focused and will never stop and believe in each other and always believe that a play is coming, that they will make a play. And it's just fun to watch, man. Like this again, 3-5, things look bad. I kind of went off the handle and was just like, well, this season's done. It's cooked. Look, now who's an idiot? Me, so it's good to be proven wrong. But also it's just when we look back at this, because right now it's hard to look back while you're in it, right? You can't reflect right now while there's still 2 more games to go. But when we look back, we're going to say, what the hell with this season? 3-5 and just got whipped by Colt McCoy. And things just were like looking like they're ready to spiral out of control, especially with the way that team behaved in that game. Josh Norman's yelling at Cliff Kingsbury. He's fighting his own teammates. Nothing looked right. And from there, I think they lost 2 more games the rest of the year. And they can't lose another one. So they might just have lost 2 from there.
Right. It is wild. It has been an incredible ride. And again, I do think that ability to come back together has placed the 49ers where they are with a chance at this one. Ellis10 correctly stating the 49ers' path to victory will be legendary. Thank you, Quan Alexander, for that. It will be legendary. Chris Royal coming in. A tweet from Akash said that per StubHub, 47% of ticket sales have been coming from Northern California. Rams just unleashed a beast. Read out 2022. I do have to say, their strategy of limiting ticket sales really backfired.
Oh, yeah.
Really freaking backfired on them.
For 2 reasons. One, again, tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And 2, it's clearly in your head. Sean McVay.
Clearly.
Kyle Shanahan's not in my head. You sure? Are you sure? This whole team, the 49ers are in your head. The whole team, everybody. Now Matthew Stafford's wife wants to buy tickets. Andrew Whitworth's wife wants to buy tickets and give them out to Rams fans. But Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan's not in your head? 17-0, and you go running into the end zone? Like, the Rams have to do something in this game. I understand you beating them 3 times in a row, but the Rams have to do something and clear a hurdle that isn't physical, that isn't X's and O's. It's up here. And I don't know if they can. When you go back to week 18 and the 49ers win that game, that's a hat and T-shirt game for the Los Angeles Rams.
Right.
The press conference, that locker room was quiet like their season had just ended. And they just won the NFC West. Don't tell me that they don't care. Don't tell me this is just any other game. Oh, we just got to – no. Raheem Morris, George Kittle said they were going to put us in a body bag. They did. We owe him one. Oh, but we're not – they're not in our head. No.
Yeah. Everything that they do and say would indicate that the 49ers are most definitely in their head. It looks like we have Mario just coming in to show a little bit of love. Much appreciated for that. And we got that Niner guy coming back in. I hope they show Cranky. How do you pronounce Stan's last name? Cranky?
We can go with Cranky.
Yeah, he's cranky. He's going to be cranky
after the game. Yeah, he will be
He's going to be real cranky. I hope they show Cranky losing his mind on TV. That would be phenomenal. Yes, it would. Anytime you see a billionaire losing their mind, that's pretty entertaining stuff. Let's be honest about that. Can't feel too bad for billionaires, right?
Not even that. It's just like all that money and you still react how we would. And you're one of us still.
Yes, still a super fan. All right, let's talk a little bit about the best player in the league, potentially. Deebo Samuel. That best player in the league comment comes from Kyle Shanahan talking about Deebo Samuel in the presser. Let's look at, again, pulling stats from Jordan Elliott because he is my man here. Last 4 games against LA, Deebo averaging 6.5 receptions, 97.75 receiving yards, 13.95 yards after the catch per reception, and 5.35 yards per carry. Statistically speaking, he is definitely the premier weapon against the Los Angeles Rams. First of all, what is your impression of Deebo at this point? Like, just how amazing has this season been to behold for you? And do you see him as the primary focus for the Niners on Sunday?
Yeah, and yes. And I've never seen a 49ers offensive weapon like play like this in a season. I've never seen anything like it. Like Percy Harvin walk so Cordell Patterson could run, so Deebo Samuel could sprint and run you over. Like
Yes.
it's it's so crazy to watch one player be moved around, and not just for novelty, not just to create a matchup, just because get your playmakers the ball however it is. And this is what I'm most impressed with. And there's a little bit of a narrative out there right now on that 3rd down and 9. Oh, on 3rd down and 9, you don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo. You handed it off to Deebo Samuel. Well, that was actually a very good play call against a look that Kyle Shanahan knew he was getting, which was duplicated. Raheem Mostert scored on that same draw play when they saw the same look. And that's the home run hitter. That's the end the game guy that Deebo Samuel is. I don't think that that has anything to do with the trust that Kyle Shanahan had in Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that that's the look that he got. He called the correct play in his bag, and he trusted the best player on that offense to get it done. And that is symptomatic. It's symptomatic of just how important this man is, and how he's the most valuable player on this team, and he better get some votes. He better get some votes.
The man has earned it, and I agree with you that was matchup dependent. That was schematic. What Kyle Shanahan saw on the field, an advantage, right? Came in, took the timeout, saw what he wanted to attack, and then went out and did it. And you do want to get the ball to the best player on the field. And right now, the best player on the field is Deebo, not just statistically, but the one who is inspiring others, right? I mean, watch him and Trent Williams coming out to the beatbox entrance, at the beginning of games, physically setting the tone for this offense. The calling of his own shot. Kyle, I got you. I mean, it's inspirational stuff. If you follow him on Instagram, he's very clearly inspiring himself on a daily basis. He is putting positivity out there. He is manifesting his own destiny. And you hear the quotes from the team. He just inspires, talking about Deebo Samuel. You need that mental edge, in particular in a game that is going to be a body bag game, where these teams are going to attempt to hurt each other come Sunday, right? They have a lot of hatred that's going to bubble up on that field. You need a physical tone setter. Deebo is that guy. It reminds me of the old movie The Natural with Robert
Roy
Redford,
Hobbs.
where it's just this amazing baseball film. It's this guy who comes back from injury, just inspirational, the stuff of dreams, the stuff of legend. That's what Deebo is doing. And that's why, to me, I just have to take a moment to recognize it and to recognize how much he means to the organization, to the team, and to where we are right now.
Yeah, and playing hurt, playing through all that. He was tired. He got the wind knocked out of him a bunch of times, and he just continues to fight. It's just, he is the symbol for what this team is in terms of physical and just mental. Like, we're just going to continue to physically hit you until you, like, what Marshawn Lynch say? Not everybody's going to be able to take that over and over and over and over and over and over. Like that's the mindset. And that's why, the Rams are going to try. But that's what's got me excited about this game, is that they can try all they want. The Cowboys tried. The Packers tried. But eventually it's going to get you. And whether it's in the first quarter and things erode, or if it catches up to you in the fourth quarter, there's eventually going to get to a point where they're just going to say, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to keep hitting these guys. I don't want to keep trying for this anymore. And the 49ers are going to attack that secondary and make them tackle. Good luck trying to tackle Deebo Samuel and some of these guys.
Amen to that. And I think Kyle Shanahan touched on something that's unique to Deebo. He gets up to this certain level, and Kyle Shanahan touched on the idea that some players, in order to get to that level of physicality, need to play almost blacked out, right? To where they've psyched themselves up so much that they're not quite as analytical. They're not playing slowly. The game isn't slowing down. They're not able to see those holes as they develop. They're just so amped up that they're trying to run through a wall on every single play. And if you're able to do both, as Deebo Samuel has been able to do, Kyle Shanahan describing this, it is an added advantage, because I do believe there will be members of the Rams team that psych themselves up to that point. But I do believe it won't be their natural state. It will be that blacked out, like run through a wall, but may not make the intelligent play while doing it. to have that edge for Deebo Samuel, that is something else. It is something, again, just very special. It must be recognized. I hope you're right. I hope he does get votes for the MVP race because the man deserves it. There's just no question about it in my book.
Just votes. That's all I'm asking for. I know it's a quarterback award. Just get him a vote.
Get him a vote. Amen to that. Ryan G coming in. Michael Jordan, or is that going to be LBJ, LeBron James?
Yeah.
No, Manu Ginobili is the GOAT. He has the highest winning percentage in NBA history, and that has nothing to do with Duncan or Pop. So this is a shot at Jimmy Garoppolo. I just find it interesting that instead of all of us just agreeing that Jimmy Garoppolo is both good and bad, and that puts him in the middle somewhere, we find this need to argue about it, even now as Jimmy leads this team into the NFC Championship game. It's kind of funny to me in that regard.
Yeah. Basketball's tricky, though. Like, the thing is that Michael Jordan is one of one. LeBron James is one of one. Like, that's why, like, you can't compare them. Like, LeBron isn't the killer that Mike was. And Mike craved winning, craved it. Like, I'm not a big Michael Jordan fan. I can appreciate what the guy did. I didn't have to watch The Last Dance to know that he was a jerk to his teammates and that all he wanted to do was win. Like, I knew that. Like, I already knew that. I knew that already. But yeah, it's tough, man. Like, it's the same thing, right? Like, we can make that joke right now. Look, let's do defensive tackle wins. Eric Armstead playoff wins this year, 2. DeForest Buckner, 0. Now who won the trade? That's not the way you evaluate things, right? Like, I don't think that people would look at it that way, but I just think it's funny to say things like that, right? Like Tom Compton's record against Mike McGlinchey's this season.
Right. Tom Compton, clearly the better player there.
Yeah, like, it's just, there's a lot. I get what he's saying. It's just, again, but the other thing is, too, with two games left, it's clear Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start. We know what Jimmy Garoppolo is. I have no desire to reiterate points that have been spoken for an entire offseason, and no one is saying anything new.
Right.
There is nothing new to add.
No, it's just getting rehashed.
It's like, look, you may not like it, but accept it. There's nothing you can do. You just have to sit there and hope that Jimmy doesn't turn the ball over. That's it. He's going to be starting. That's it.
Right. Let's get behind the man because it's the NFC Championship game. Carmelo coming in. How about that chant? What are they going to do when that Red Sea starts to chant? Deebo, Deebo. Yes, I can't wait. I mean, Jason and I are going to be there. We are going to be both probably without a voice next week to some extent. I know I tend to lose mine pretty easily because I go a little bit crazy in the stands.
Rob, I'm getting scared, man. I'm starting to feel like maybe my energy as a fan is gone because I sit like this in front of the TV now. Like, I don't say anything. Like, something good happens, I'm like, okay, how much time is left? Okay, all right. Like, the game's not over. Like, I'm
just doing mental calculations.
When the game's over, I just go,
oh man.
And then that's it.
Hey, whatever you need to do to get through this roller coaster, you do it, baby. Pat Mack coming in. If the Niners win the Super Bowl, do we still keep Jimmy G around next year, or is it full steam ahead with Lance? To me, it's got to be like Jimmy winning the Super Bowl for the Niners to reconsider him sticking around. I think it's still allowing him to ride off into the sunset, even if the Niners win the Super Bowl, just as we've seen play continue. So if his play continued at the same rate that it has and we win the Super Bowl with him, I still think that the Niners move forward with Trey. That's just my gut feeling.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think it would have to be like a legendary Super Bowl performance, like where he outduels Mahomes 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then everybody would have to be like, well, maybe, but I just think that the plan's set. And that's what makes this feel special. Last ride, that's why they keep talking about it. I think they all know that they have a chance to do something where they finally win as the unit that they thought they were going to win in 2019. And then Jimmy Garoppolo gets to continue his career as a starting quarterback with a Super Bowl championship under his belt. That is his, not as a backup with the Patriots.
Yes. All right. Well, we've got 6 minutes left and one last topic, and we got to get Jason out on time. He is going to do a program on Grant Cohn's channel. For those of you that don't follow Jason, make sure to go follow him. I'm going to put the description the link down in the description. We are going to get him out of here on time. We're going to do a little breakdown of what we need to do to beat the Rams and then get him gone. But follow him for the Sprint Right Option podcast. He makes phenomenal content there. If there are any questions remaining, I'll stick around for a few minutes here after we let Jason go to meet up with Grant. But let's get into that last topic, talking about what the Niners need to do to beat Stafford and the Rams on Sunday. And if you're comfortable, given whatever you think your prediction will be for this one, what do you see as the keys to this matchup, Jason?
Pass rush, pass rush, pass rush, pass rush. And if you can get there with 4 and you can keep everybody back and you're able to contain Cooper Kupp as best you can, I don't think you can stop Devontae Adams or Cooper Kupp. You just have to limit what they do. If they catch the ball, then tackle them immediately, no yards after the catch. But if this pass rush can do what it did to stifle Matthew Stafford as it did at the end of the game and hit him and disrupt his timing and force him to make some of those errant throws, then you're right back where you need to be. The 49ers pressure rate has been insane since week 18. That's Stafford, that's Dak, that's Rodgers. Back to back to back, above 30% of their dropbacks have resulted in a pressure. And I believe in the second half against Dak, it was closer to 50%. You continue that, then there's really not many quarterbacks, because that's the sauce to beat Tom Brady. That's how you beat Aaron Rodgers. No disrespect to Matthew Stafford. He's not them. And the pass rush is going to be where it's at. The secondary is going to do their job. But if this front 4, and they can just send 4, they don't even have to send extra blitzes, which I will give D'Amico a lot of credit for, is he's picking his spots to send the blitzes, even though he's not blitzing a ton. But getting that pressure up front is going to be how the 49ers win this game and how they can cause Matthew Stafford to make some of those turnover-worthy plays that sometimes you're just like, man, with a guy with this arm, why is he making that decision? It's because there's pressure in his face, and the 49ers can do it with just sending 4.
You have absolutely nailed it in my book. And again, I'll go back to some stats that were thrown out by Jordan Elliott. Again, phenomenal follow on Twitter. That Stafford is great against facing blitzes, right? And therefore, it's the 49ers' ability to bring pressure with 4 that really changes this game. When facing the blitz, Stafford has posted 9.3 yards per attempt, 74% completion percentage, and a 15-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio against the blitz. And this is a guy who's leading the league, tied for lead in the league with interceptions with 17 on the season. But the Niners have managed to pressure Stafford on 41% of his dropbacks while only blitzing 14% of the time. And in those 2 games, we are talking about 4 interceptions, multiple picks in each one. Last question for you before I let you go. I'll finish answering the super chats once you're on with Grant. Are you worried at all about the return of Cam Akers in this one?
It's not good, but I'm not necessarily worried. This 49ers run defense is still top of the line. If you listen to Aaron Rodgers talk on Pat McAfee about what happened, so calm about it too. I love how his season's over and he's just like, yeah, well, they stopped the run and it just, that was what I always knew he was going to act like that at the end of the game. Doesn't seem like it bothers him too much. Doesn't seem like he's upset that he lost again at home, NFC Championship with it's just, that's just the type of guy he is, I think. And I've always felt like he's always going to be like that, where it's just like, yeah, well, nobody's going to blame me. I'm really good. Remember, I'm going to win the MVP. I'm really good. But no, when he talked about how the Packers got out of their mojo was run defense. And Cam Akers faced a very good run defense. Didn't really do too much. Had 2 fumbles.
Yes.
They ran over Arizona. That's fine. Arizona's frauds. We all knew that. But I don't know if that's something that I am really too worried about. He's much more dynamic than Sony Michel. I get that. But Sony was running the ball pretty well, and not against the 49ers, but when they switched over to that heavy personnel. So I wouldn't say that I'm too worried about it. He's definitely a threat, and he's definitely a very good player, and he has a lot of burst, man. I enjoy watching the kid play, but it doesn't worry me nearly as much as a lot of people are, just based on how good this 49ers run defense is without having to overcommit to stop the run.
That's the key. This man right there in the middle, DJ Jones, along with Eric Armstead, are the reason I'm not concerned about it. The Niners will first stop the run and then get after the passer in just the way that you described, Jason. The ability to get there with 4 is going to be critical. Do you have a score prediction on this one, or do you stay away from the final score predictions?
Nope. 28-21 49ers, and we'll see you back in SoFi in 2 weeks, and we're going to handle some business because we're going to be playing the Chiefs again.
I love it. I also have the Niners with a 7-point margin of victory. Jason, thank you so much for coming on the program today. I'm going to stick around to handle those last super chats, but I'm going to let you go because I know you got a program with Grant Cohn over on Grant's channel.
Can't wait to hear what he's got served up for me. I can't imagine that I would be shocked at some of these questions that's coming, but that's the fun, right? But
that
thank you, Rob.
the fun
this
of
is
it.
Awesome. We got to keep this rolling, man, and I can't wait to see you on Sunday, man, at the game, man. It's going to be a blast.
I will see you there, and I will see you next week as we continue this magic carpet ride. Jason, always a pleasure. Cheers to you, my friend.
Appreciate you, Rob. Have a good one, guys, and let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Later, Jason. All right. Gonna wrap this one up with those super chats. Let me get my proper branding on here. Got to make sure that everything looks crispy. You know, you got, oh, there it is. There is that magic. All right. Karma 6 Speed. He's talking about the Deebo chant Michael Irvin said on NFL Network. Check it out if you haven't, LOL. And since you're both going, practice. Let's freaking go. Yes, we need to get the Michael Irvin chant going. I will absolutely look it up. I haven't had time to look at it. Been looking at so much other Niners stuff this week, but I've seen it mentioned many times. I need to get a look at it. I'm going to do that right after this show because I got the Sneakerhead call-in show coming up at 4 p.m. We got a little bit of downtime in between. Sean 951 Niners coming in. Doesn't matter what Jimmy G does. He can win Super Bowl, but he is gone. Not paying $27 million to him. Need money for others or give it to A-Rod or Brady so that Lance can learn from a legend. Jimmy G is playing to get us a first-round pick. There's a hell of a chance that he does merit that first-round pick from somebody. If there's a mini bidding war that occurs, I believe that he'll be a second and a fourth. That's been my prediction. I'm sticking with it. But man, do I hope that the Niners net a first rounder back. That would be huge. I'm in agreement that it takes a basic miracle to keep Jimmy here this next season. Elvis coming in. Good day, gents. Rob and Jason, love your input and honesty on our team. Shout out from one of the faithful from down under. Let's go, Niners. Elvis from Australia. Thank you for coming into the program. Elvis, we are celebrating the Niners going into the NFC Championship game. We are certainly fired up. Man, I can see in the comments that folks are fired up as well. I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here for the program. Remember, there is the Sneakerhead call-in show that is coming up at 4 p.m. You must be a sneakerhead in order to call in, but everyone can be there in the comments, hanging out, chatting, being a part of the dialogue. We will make that happen 1 hour from now. The link, if you are a sneakerhead, will be located on the community tab of my YouTube page. If you want to become a sneakerhead, all you have to do is hit that join button that appears once you have subscribed to the channel. That Niner guy who is one of our sneakerheads coming in. Remember, everyone, there's a lot of moving parts in the quarterback market this offseason. Wilson, Rodgers, and Brady, maybe Carr. It might be a while. Yes, patience is, I think, what that Niner guy is preaching when it comes to what we see in this offseason. Patience. I am excited for this season. I don't care about the offseason yet because it ain't here. Right now, we are in the NFC Championship game, and we are playing for the right to advance to the Super Bowl, 49er faithful. The right to play in the Super Bowl 56, where we would go back to the same SoFi Stadium. Man, I am fired up. I can't wait for this freaking game on Sunday. I hope you are fired up as well. Young Leak is chanting Deebo. Yes, get it going. Hey, if you are thinking about going to this game, go to this game. I'm telling you, you will not want to miss out on the physical game that will unfold in Los Angeles on Sunday. It is going to be a freaking game to behold. We are absolutely going to celebrate this win, 49er faithful. We are going to definitely take down that division rival Rams. Just cannot wait for that end result. It will be a good game, I predict. It will be a close game. There's no doubt that this Rams team is talented, but this Niners team feels like a team of destiny. Screwface303 says this defense reminds me of the 2015 Broncos. Just special. I'm telling you, this is going to be a phenomenal one for the history books. I will be back at 4 p.m. Please join me for that Sneakerhead call-in show. And until then, cheers, 49er faithful.